Well, welcome back. It is Monday once again, and we've had a flurry of news over the past week. Some good news for me, some bad news in general, but we're here regardless. Today I want to talk about a little something of my side projects and how I was able to raise $1,000 in a little under 48 hours. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I would love to have raised $1,000 in 48 hours, and I would love for you to have that happen as well. What I would tell you is this. Before I get into the way I did it, I'm going to tell you why I did it. If anyone hasn't followed me on social media or has followed my separate account, I made another account because I started my own solo dev journey into video game making. I started a new studio, something for me to do in the mornings, and it's called Too Many Hats Studio because I wear too many hats. And I'm corny, and I have dad jokes. But I did begin this journey because I wanted to produce something that I could play and share with people. And I'm just really in love with like the indie dev community. And pixel art first was spun into like, oh, let's see these characters move. And I made something stupid sketch, and it kind of spun out of control. I made a little sprite for it, and then I animated it. And I built an entire world and mythos around this character in this world. And I built like maybe 7 or 8 bad guys. I built like, you know, I built NPCs. So I'm doing a little world building in my free time before I get my regular work done for the week. And I thought to myself, I would love to spend more time, dedicate more time to learning how to make a game from scratch, learn how to code. But that all takes time. Time I don't have. Most likely, inevitably. So how could I find a way to make time to dedicate to this new passion project? So I decided to put together a little commission work, some very light sprite work to have a somebody that backs the idea of the game, to have a character made in the style of the main hero. And you know, for a certain amount of money, I would have that character be at the end of the game in the credit scene. And I thought, you know, I have 20 slots open. It should take about a month or so for it to fill up. Give me some time, a little bit of breathing room so I don't have to work on commissions all the time. That's the main reason I did this. You know, $1,000 sounds like a lot, but in the world I work in, where a project could run $3,000, you know, or you know, between $12,000 and $3,000, or $12,000 and $5,000. Ultimately, that's not a month's worth of work for me. That's like, you know, it's a week, maybe up to a few days, working on it sporadically. So, in order to dedicate more time to that, I put together a little thing for people to actually donate to the to back the game and to have their names be mentioned perhaps in the credits. And that filled up within 48 hours, which was to my great surprise. And I didn't want to kickstart it yet, or you know, Indiegogo or any of those things, because it's still a fresh idea. And I put in there when people donated, like possibly being a game, because this is my first time developing a game. Even though people know that when I pretty much start something, it's more or less going to get finished. Regardless of, like, you know, the knowledge of me, possessing the knowledge to actually executing that idea. That's what I've been doing over the past week, is learning how to code, you know, learning about sprites, learning about tile mapping, learning a game engine, talking to other indie devs, talking to other pixel artists, etc., etc., etc. And I was able to do that by having a little bit extra income on the side to not worry about filling in the slots for the upcoming, you know, 6 to 8 weeks. And then luckily, I had a small wane in work, but which was kind of like destroyed with Twitch's new news. They released new slots and animated slots for affiliates, which gave me about a month and a half worth of, a month to 2 months worth of work within a 48-hour period. So, doubling down here. That's the long way for me to say this. When you have an online presence and a portfolio, people see that you produce things all the time to completion, you have a strong body of work that people believe in, they will back most of your ideas that you come forward with. And that's not hard. That's not easy to do. Being consistent, which I've talked about on several of the videos before, but being consistent with your endeavors is super important to having people believe in the concepts you put forward when you want to do something on your own. This was not backed by a company. I'm not partnering with any development software. I'm learning how to code from scratch. But I have unknowingly baked in a fan base that believes in the content I produce, and they believe that content will actually be finished, which is super important, which is always why I stress with people, when you start things and you never finish them, people lose confidence in you. When they see you produce work and then 6 months of time there's nothing social wise, or you kind of fall off the map, you kind of lose a little bit of like social confidence. Now this can be extraordinarily taxing for people that have like a full-time job, got a family, they got kids, they got bills to pay, etc., etc., etc. All those things will factor into whether or not this is actually a viable way for you to move into your hobbies and your hobbies and your passion projects with any financial backing. Yes, I raised $1,000 in 2 days, but it's only on the strength of my past successes. Without that track record, it becomes a lot more difficult for people to trust you with their money, and rightfully so. We all hear about people that lose money on X, Y, and Z when they thought they had confidence in a project or a person or a company. Streamlabs comes to mind, and you come to find out everything's not what they said it was going to be. The things that were supposed to get done aren't getting done, and you've lost that confidence in your user base, or your fan base. So when you move from the point of raising money just to raise money as a means to an end, instead of that, the end being producing the passion project and not raising the money, you will run into certain roadblocks that will hinder it will hinder your progress to things you would like to make in your mind. So I didn't come out of the blue just saying, random Joe on the internet, I want to make a video game. And people go, well, that's nice. Do you want to be in it? No, not really. I haven't seen anything else. What else have you done? I've came up with the idea of making a video game. I'll probably start producing some videos and devlogs for YouTube. I might start a separate channel or do some different videos in different category or playlist or whatever. Who knows? But I did want to share that information with you of how I was able to raise a little over $1,000 in a couple days to back my new passion project. And how you can too, but there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be put in first, which takes quite a lot of time and effort to bridge the gap between you and your fan base, to know that to let them know that you're legit, and what you say you're going to do, you're going to actually do. And I never take that for granted. Never take your people's confidence in you for granted, because if you abuse that confidence, you will be shirtless, and not in a sexy way. You will be without house and home quite fast, because when you're a solo entrepreneur, when you're a business, you are the buck starts and ends with you. And when that fails, when that breaks down, the business breaks down, and eventually you break down, and the people that rely on you, they're going to break down. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm gonna leave you with that. If you did not know, if you didn't see the shirt, I did finally secure. This is the news I was waiting to tell you guys. I did finally secure the coffee collaboration deal with King's Coast. Hashtag a sponsor. So you can get the KHANQUER blend over on kingscoast.com, King's Coast Coffee, and just look for the tiger, for the KHANQUER blend. I'm quite proud of that. It's a little bit of a Java blend, so I'm just so happy. It's just hard to imagine that a 1,000-day campaign, almost a 1,000-day campaign, has come to fruition with my own blend. So go pick that up. Code word KHANQUER for 10% off at checkout, and that's pretty much the only thing I'll be selling on this YouTube channel. I don't really have any other sponsors I care to take on. So, with that being said, I will catch you guys next week on Monday, and we'll discuss whatever happens this week. Who knows? There's never a dull moment in this crazy content creation space. So keep fighting a good fight. I'll see you then.